Hello, and thank you for joining me, Shanny Leigh, for this Christmas-inspired yoga. I myself am Catholic, and so I was raised celebrating this tradition, and so I wanted to do a little flow honoring the Christmas celebrations. So for those of you who don't know the history of Christmas or want a little recap, the holiday itself celebrates the birth of Jesus Christ. And as the story goes, the angel Gabriel was sent by God to speak to Mary, the mother of Jesus, saying that she would give birth to the Son of God. And so her and her husband traveled by donkey, that'll come up later, to the city of Bethlehem, where Jesus was born. And at the time of his birth, all of the inns were full, and so they could only find lodging in a stable. And so Jesus was born in a manger. And after his birth, there was a really bright star overhead, known as the Star of Bethlehem, that called and guided others to come celebrate the birth of the Son of God. And so there were shepherds, there were 3 wise men, and so you'll see these themes come up throughout the yoga class, but that's kind of the history behind Christmas and whether you celebrate it or not, or there's some speculation whether Christmas actually happened in December. But another special period around this time is the winter solstice, which in pagan traditions was the celebration of the darkest day of the year in the northern hemisphere, moving in towards more days of light. And so that was a big important part around this time. And also, just a little fun fact about Christmas history is the Christmas tree is actually European, specifically German tradition. And it came to colonial America through German immigration. And at first it was seen as a pagan celebration, and it was outlawed until Queen Victoria and her German husband made it popular in the late 1800s. And the lights come from Germans used to place candles in the tree. And so that's a little fun fact about the Christmas tree. And we'll be embodying that a little bit as well in this flow. So kind of themes around Christianity, the birth of Christ, themes around Christmas in general. And yeah, I just hope you enjoy, and I thank you for joining me, and I'll see you on the mat. So we'll get started in child's pose, not shocking, in Balasana. I invite you to come onto your knees. They can be hip distance, mat distance, whatever feels good. And then I invite you to stretch your hands out as you dip your chest towards the mat, maybe even resting your forehead on the mat. And so jumping right into this Christmas theme of child's pose of the child of God. Yes, in the Christian tradition, we are all children of God, but Jesus specifically was the Son of God sent to earth to atone for our sins. So I'm going to take a moment here, and whether you celebrate Christmas or not, maybe you start to think of an intention for your practice. And take nice big breaths in through the thoracic cavity as we start to center ourselves. Whether you are of the Christian faith or not, I think this time of year, as it is the end of the Greco-Roman calendar year, it is a time to reflect back and give thanks for what we have. Let's take one more round of breath here. And then I invite you to slowly bring your palms together and then lift the heel of your hand towards the back of your head, finding Anjali Mudra or prayer pose in your hands. And again, maybe just give thanks for everything that you have. Just for one more round of breath here, moment of stillness. And exhale, let your hands slowly come back to the mat. Slowly begin to lift your chest up, walking your hands back in towards your knees. And then I invite you to bring your knees slightly more together to feel a little more stable. Taking a second here to sit the hips back on the heels, lifting the chest up. Maybe you close your eyes still. Taking a few slower moments here. And I like to think of this as drummer boy pose. The drummer boy is one of my favorite Christmas stories. And so maybe you can imagine that you're the little drummer boy kneeling before Jesus playing his drum. It's also a great Christmas song. One more round of breath here. And I invite you to slowly begin to blink your eyes open, maybe invite a smile onto your face. And then we'll lift up onto our knees. Inhale as our arms circle up into the sky. Nice big stretch here in high Vajrasana. And then we'll take it towards tabletop pose. Exhale, bringing the hands to the mat. Just as needed as you inhale, begin to drop your belly towards cow pose, Bithilasana, shining your chest forward. As if maybe a cow was in the stable where Jesus was born. And then exhale, begin to arch your back as you sit it back towards child's pose. Take a second there. And we'll do that 2 more times a little quicker. Rising right up into high Vajrasana. Inhale, lift up on your knees, arms circle up. And exhale, tabletop, bring it down. Inhale, drop the belly, shine the chest. And exhale, draw it back, child's pose. Maybe even like you're bowing in reverence. Inhale, lift up. And exhale, tabletop. Inhale, cow. And exhale, child's pose. The last time here, and we'll end in tabletop. Inhale, lift it up, nice big stretch. And exhale, hands to the mat, and meet me here in Barmanasana. Exhale. Maybe adjust your hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. Maybe you sway it out a little bit. And again, if none of this Christian theme is working for you, just think of other things, right? Like bowing in reverence, or giving reverence, or offering to something that you appreciate. Just one more round of breath here, kind of waking up the body, rolling it out. And exhale, come to find stillness. Ground down in the left knee. And on the inhale, keeping your right knee bent, tuck your toes, or flex your toes, and lift your knee up into the air, trying to keep your belly button in and your back flat. Finding donkey kick. Mary rode into Bethlehem on a donkey, as the story goes. Keep holding it here, 1 more round of breath. And then we'll knee tap and kick 3 times. Exhale, tap. And inhale, kick it up. There's another really great story I like. Exhale, about the boy who sold the donkey to Mary and Joseph. It's a very sweet Christmas story. Exhale. The last time, inhale, hold here. And now maybe you float your left hand. Again, maybe you hold here, or maybe you swing it back, and maybe you find a bind if that serves your body. If there's any wrist pain, you can come onto your front elbow. Keep kicking into your back hand. 1 more round of breath. And then exhale, slowly release everything to the mat. Shake it out, and we'll take that to the other side. Right knee stays down, flex your left toes, and then inhale, lift your left knee. Hold here just to check your posture. Starting to feel the burn. 1 more round of breath, and then we'll tap it to the mat. Exhale, donkey kick, inhale. And exhale. 2 more. Use your glute to lift. Exhale down. Last time, inhale. And now maybe again, hold here. Maybe you float your right hand. Maybe you reach back and find a bind. If you do, kick into your hand. Try not to let your back sway too much, right? So you're still drawing your belly button in. 1 more round of breath. And then with control, release everything you have back to the mat. A last moment here. Inhale the breath, tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Exhale, begin to lift your hips up as you shift your ears between your biceps and adjust. Pedaling the feet out here. Just getting a nice big stretch. And then if you want, if it feels good, we'll be here for just a few more rounds of breath. You can tuck your toes underneath and then kind of push into the top to stretch out the top of the foot. If that doesn't feel good, just keep walking it out. It's just another little way to stretch the foot out here. Maybe you can do both. Just for 1 more round of breath wherever you're at. Exhale, find stillness. Inhale, begin to lift the heels, bend the knees, gaze forward, and step or hop your way to the top of the mat. Ardha Uttanasana, forward, fold, then to Uttanasana. Halfway lift, flat back, and then exhale, sit your hips down, and then on your next inhale, swing your arms up to find chair pose. To honor the candles that were placed in the Christmas tree, we'll imagine that we're a little candle here flickering. One more round of breath. Exhale, side out. And then inhale, stand all the way up, Urdhva Hastasana. And exhale, bring your hands down. And to heart center, Anjali Mudra at the chest. Maybe you close your eyes. Maybe you remember your intention here. Side out. Let's take 3 more rounds of breath here. The Christmas tree also came about because things that were evergreen in the winter were seen as special and sacred in many cultures, in Egypt and Rome, because they didn't die during the cold winter months. One more round of breath here. Exhale, side out in Samastiti. Maybe this is your Angel Gabriel pose. And then next inhale, arms sweep back up and we'll find chair again. Exhale, sit it down. Or for the purpose of today, candle pose. One more round of breath. And then fold it to the mat. Exhale. Halfway lift, flat back, inhale. And take it back to a plank. Bend your knees, plant your hands, and step or hop your way back. Holding here, couple of rounds of breath. So I know this is part of Vinyasa, but it also works with the theme because Joseph was a carpenter. So imagine that you're a plank of wood here. One more round of breath, and then we're gonna do a body saw. On your next inhale, begin to shift your weight forward onto your toes. And then exhale, push your heels back as you shift your weight back. Twice more. Inhale, shift forward. Doing things in 3s. Exhale for the 3 wise men. Inhale, body saw. Exhale, push it back. And then inhale, shift your weight forward. You can lower all the way down or halfway into Chaturanga. Keep your elbows in, untuck the toes, shine the chest forward, upward facing dog or a cobra pose. And exhale, draw your lower abs in as you lift your hips, send them back, and untuck the feet. Take a round of breath here. Side out. Left foot stays on the mat. Inhale, right leg lifts up into the sky. 3-legged dog. Hold here. One more round of breath. And then exhale, step your foot all the way through. Dial your back heel back and down 45 degrees. Bend in the front leg. Inhale, lift the arms up into Warrior 1. Take a second here, adjust as needed. And for the purpose of today's class, we'll do Warrior 1, 2, and 3 for the 3 wise men. One more round of breath, and then I invite you to clasp your fingers overhead, bending the 3 fingers, keeping your index and thumb pointing. Inhale, lift your chest, and then try to open your shoulders back. Shining the chest forward, so you shouldn't be trying to bend into the lower back so much as opening the chest. Imagine that maybe you're pointing to the Star of Bethlehem. One more round of breath here. And then inhale, release. Exhale, hands come down. And then inhale, begin to shoot your hands out into a T as you open your hips to come into Warrior 2. So back feet, toes, that's what I wanted to say, are pointing towards the long edge of your mat, gazing over your front fingers. Here in the 2nd wise man. Take one more round of breath. And then I invite you to turn your palms up. Your shoulders will rotate back and down. And now hold here for 3 more rounds of breath. Imagine that you're holding something. The wise men brought gold, frankincense, and myrrh. One more round of breath here. Exhale, side out. And then we'll straight leg pulse our front leg 3 times. Inhale, straighten it out, but don't lock it out. Exhale, dip back. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, keep that straight leg, turn both of your toes now towards the long edge of your mat. Turn your palms back down and settle here in star pose. Like the Star of Bethlehem. Maybe you close your eyes and we'll stay here for 3 rounds of breath. Feel your shoulders working. Maybe you smile. One more round of breath here. Exhale, side out. Turn your heels in, toes out, and then inhale, arms come up overhead, and exhale, squat it down towards your goddess pose. Twice more, inhale, lift up, exhale, squat down. Knees are going out, inhale, and exhale, bring your prayer Anjali Mudra to your chest and settle into Devyasana. A couple rounds of breath here. And for goddess pose, I thought of Saint Mary. A lot of cultures revere La Santa Maria, especially I used to live in Latin America, and there's a really big celebration of Mary, and in the Catholic Church as well. So you can imagine Mary, if you're not feeling the God stuff, this is also known as horse pose. So you can imagine horses in stables, one more round of breath, whatever works for you. And then inhale, straight leg, lift your arms back up. And now this time, turn your heels out, your toes slightly in, and hinge from the waist, fold forward. Wide-legged forward fold, Prasarita Padottanasana. Hang your head. And feel this nice stretch on the outside of your feet. Take one more round of breath here. Side up. And then inhale, flat back, lift up halfway, and take your hands, shifting everything back towards the top of the mat, and we'll find our plank and do that sequence on the other side. Stay here in plancha, and imagine Joseph the carpenter. One more round of breath, and then we'll find our three saws. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, shift back. Inhale. Exhale, keep your belly button in, back is flat. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, shift it forward once more. Elbows stay in, lower halfway or all the way. Untuck the toes, shine the chest forward. And exhale, downward facing dog. Bring the hips, send them back. Take a round of breath here. Exhale, side out. Right foot stays down. This time, the left leg lifts up into the sky. Three-legged dog. Tripada Adho Mukha Svanasana. Try to keep your shoulders square. One more round of breath. And then exhale, step your foot all the way through, back heel back and down, 45 degrees. Lift it up. Warrior or wise man one. Pushing down to the outer edge of your back foot. In your front heel, extra little ditty as you can lift up your front toes. And then clasp your fingers, maybe in the way that feels funky. Index fingers point, open the chest, and start to shine it forward and up. Imagining that you're pointing towards the Star of Bethlehem. Keep dipping towards 90 in the front leg. One more round of breath here. Exhale, start to release. Hands sweep down. And then inhale, open your hips. Heel turns in 90 degrees towards the long edge of the mat. And find your hands at a T for Warrior Two. Gazing over your front fingers. So working towards 90 in the front leg. One more round of breath, and then turn your palms up. Feel your shoulders rotate down and back. And imagine again, you are offering something, right? If you're not Christian and you don't like the idea of like offering something to the Son of God, what else can you hold in your hands? What else can you hold lightly? What else can you offer, right? We offer gifts a lot of times during this year. One more round of breath, and then straight leg pulse. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, and now turn both of your toes in towards the long edge of your mat. I'll rotate here so you don't see my back. And find star pose again. Exhale. So your left foot is still towards the top of your mat. Maybe you close your eyes, keep your shoulders rolling back and down. You can turn your palms down. Nice little Pilates hold here. One more round of breath. And then inhale, arms come up, touch overhead as you turn your heels in. Exhale, squat it down towards your goddess pose. Inhale, and exhale. Inhale, last time here. Exhale, squat it down and find Devyasana, right? Saint Mary, Santa Maria, horse pose, whatever works for you. Let's take one more round of breath here. And then inhale, lift it up. And now this time turn your heels out, toes in, and hinge from the waist, bow forward, wide-legged forward fold. Getting a nice stretch here. There's no real symbolism here other than I'm trying to prep your feet for something in a little bit, so stretching them all out. One more round of breath. Exhale, side out. And then begin to inhale, lift halfway, and walk yourself back towards the front of your mat, and come back to your plank. Take a second to adjust, and then body saw. 3 times like Joseph sawing wood. Inhale, and exhale. Inhale, shift your weight forward. Shift your weight back. One more time. And now finding your way through chaturanga and upward facing dog. If you're a Christian, you'll know why I'm skipping the snake pose this time around. Not that I think snakes are essentially evil. And exhale, and we'll meet in downward facing dog. Take a round of breath. Side out. Inhale, lift the heels to prep, bend the knees, and step or hop your way to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, find your flat back. And then exhale, sit your hips down. And then inhale, lift your hands up into chair pose, Utkatasana or candle pose. One more round of breath here. And then your candle grows as you lift up, inhale, straight legs. And exhale, hands come back, heart center. In Namaste, or for the purpose of today, angel pose. Take one more round of breath here. And now, so you know where we'll go, we're gonna move through standing staff and tree to warrior 3, and then do that other sequence a little quicker on both sides, and then we'll bring it down. So, ground down in your feet. Take one more round of breath here. Right foot stays on the mat. Inhale, arms sweep up as your left knee lifts up into the air. Holding here in standing staff, maybe like a shepherd's staff if you like to imagine that. For the shepherds that came. And then slowly, if you like to bring your hands down to help your foot tuck in towards your tree pose, you can. So options here, you can bring your foot back down and kickstand. You can have it right below your knee, or you can help it up, or not, to be right in your upper leg. Finding Vrikshasana, Christmas tree pose. Your hands can be at heart center, they can be out, they can be up. Taking a few rounds of breath here. Right, like the beautiful Christmas tree you may have in your home. One more round of breath here. And then we'll come back to standing staff slowly. I like to bring my hands back down into heart center, and then bring my left knee back out, hovering in front. And then we'll shoot our foot back as we come into Wise Man 3, Warrior 3. Shoot your leg back, begin to hinge forward. Hands can stay at your heart center, or maybe you extend your arms out, pinkies turn in. Imagine that you're holding a gift of gold, frankincense, or myrrh, offering it up. One more round of breath here. And then with control, step your back foot back and down 45 degrees, adjust as needed into Warrior 1. Inhale, bending the front leg. Side out, clasp the fingers. And then inhale, open the chest just a little bit more. And now open into Warrior 2. Exhale, turning your back foot down and adjusting as needed. Virabhadrasana 2. One round of breath here. And then exhale, turn your palms up. Inhale the breath. Exhale, side out. Inhale, straight leg pulse, arms come up, turn your toes towards the long edge of your mat. And then exhale, hands come back down, star pose. Inhale the breath. Exhale, side out. Inhale, arms up, heels in, toes out. Exhale, squat it down. Inhale, lift, heels out, toes in. A lot of footwork, I know. Exhale, bow it down, wide-legged forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, and walk it back to the top of the mat and move into plank. 3 body saws. Inhale, shift forward, exhale, back. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Breathe it in as you shift forward again. Elbows stay in, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, drop the hips as you shine your chest, untuck the toes. Downward facing dog, bring your hips, send them back. Inhale, bend, lift the heels, bend the knees, gaze forward, step or float to the top of your mat. Halfway lift, inhale, chair pose, sit it down. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale out. Inhale, stand all the way. And exhale, hands come down to heart center. Take a breath in. And now we'll do that all on the other side, and then we'll bring it down. So connect one more round of breath here. Maybe remember your intention. Breathe it out. And now left foot stays on the mat. Inhale, standing staff with the right knee lifting up. Take a second here. Shoulders continue to roll back and down. One more round of breath. And then again, find your version of tree pose. So you might bring your foot down to kickstand it. You might have it below your knee, or you can use your hand to help it get right above your knee. Just try not to have it on the knee. Here in Christmas tree pose. So just to show you again, we'll be here a few more rounds of breath. Hands can be up. They can be heart center. Just take one more round of breath here in your Christmas tree pose. And then with control, you can have your hands up or at heart center as you bring your right knee back to floating right in front of you. Standing staff like a shepherd's staff. And then warrior three. Begin to kick your leg back as you float forward. Hands at your heart or out in front. For the third wise man. I know, for you who are like, what about wise women? Different time, right? A couple thousand years ago. One more round of breath here. And then begin to bend into the front leg to gently step the back foot back. Finding warrior one. Bring your hands together, maybe the funky clasp. Index fingers point up. Inhale, open the chest. Exhale here. Inhale, release. And then exhale, begin to open into warrior two. Back foot now 90 degrees. Take a round of breath here. And then exhale, palms up. Inhale. And exhale. Straight leg pulse. Inhale, arms reach up. And now turn both feet in towards the long edge of the mat. Exhale, hands come back to their T-star pose. Inhale the breath here, arms come up, toes go out, heels in. Exhale, squat it down, goddess pose. Inhale, lift. Now the heels go out, toes go in. Exhale, fold it down, wide-legged forward fold. Halfway lift on your next inhale, and take it back to the front of your mat. On your exhale, find your way into plank. 3 body saws. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, shift back. Inhale, exhale, breathe it in, breathe it out. And now move through your flow, finding chaturanga or lowering all the way down to the mat. Untuck your toes as you drop your hips and shine your chest. And downward facing dog. Take a round of breath here. Exhale, side out. Inhale, lift the heels, bend the knees, gaze forward, and step or hop your way to the top of your mat. Halfway lift, inhale the breath. Exhale, sit it down, chair or candle pose. Inhale here, exhale out. Stand all the way up, inhale, upward salute. And exhale, hands come back down to heart center. Angel Gabriel or Samastiti pose, soft bend in the knees. So now we've just got one more little thing standing here for the full shepherd pose. I invite you to keep your right foot on the mat, and then inhale, begin to lift the left knee. And now maybe you can just find your tree pose, or if you want to find the lotus bind, I encourage you to grab your foot and then tuck the outer edge of your foot in towards your inner leg, or the top of your leg, to find the lotus bind in your tree. Maybe you stay here, or maybe you imagine with your same bind hand, same side, your arm is out like you're holding a staff. We'll take 3 more rounds of breath here. And this comes from, my father was a Peace Corps in Gambia, Africa. And one of the stories I was raised with, it's a children's book, is about the shepherd who always stood out in his field like this. I'll have to link the book in the description. But so when I thought of shepherd, I just thought of that book. 1 more round of breath here. You can just be in regular tree. And then with control, slowly release. So that's why I was doing all that footwork earlier to help you warm up. And now we'll take it to the other side. The left foot stays. And begin to find either tree pose or shepherd pose. I'm just gonna call that this. Hands can be at heart center, or you can be like a little shepherd out to the side here. Take 3 more rounds of breath. Maybe you smile. 1 more round of breath here. And then with control, release whatever you have, come back to standing top of your mat. Inhale, arms circle up, sit it down, chair pose. Last candle here, 1 more round of breath, and we're gonna sit down directly from here. If that doesn't work for you, just make your way on an exhale to a seat. Take a round of breath as you adjust, and then find your way into a cross-legged seat. Just 2 more things here. Take a second, maybe let your hands come back to Anjali Mudra at your chest. Bow your head, reconnect with your intention, what you are grateful for this Christmas season. And then we'll find fire log pose because it is cold in the northern hemisphere for the most part at Christmas, or the northern hemisphere, I should say. And so I invite you to bring your left leg down about kind of 90-ish degrees, and then take this outer edge of your right foot and stack it right on the inside, that meaty kind of part where your legs bend by your knee, trying to stack your shins on top of each other. So you see I have a gap. You can put a blanket here, you can put a block, a bolster. Some people might not have this gap at all. That's totally fine. And then maybe again, you bring your hands back to heart center for fire log pose. Sitting up nice and tall, belly button in. And if you want to increase this, you can have your hands come back to the mat and you can walk slowly as you hinge your torso forward. Not slump forward, but straight back, hinge forward, like you're doing this. 1 more round of breath, and then we'll take it to the other side. Exhale, release. And then have that foot that was on top now come to the bottom and take the outer edge of the foot, kind of stack it on top, and find fire log pose on the other side. For all those Christmas fires, I just thought this was nice and Christmassy themed for those of you who live in a place where it's cold during Christmas. I'm currently living in Oregon. This is where I grew up, Oregon, the United States. And mostly-ish cold, not quite as cold as other places. We don't get a ton of snow. Again, stay here. Maybe you hinge forward. Just 1 more round of breath here. And then release whatever you have. Bring the soles of your feet to the mat. Take a round of breath, arms go up. And then if you want to roll into this, you can grab your big toes from here. Arms are inside your legs and you can roll right on back to happy baby. Otherwise, find your way onto your back, settle in, and then find happy baby. Elbows are inside of the legs. Knees are reaching towards kind of outside of your arms, armpits area. Soles of the feet shining up to the mat. Ceiling, not the mat. Maybe wiggle around here. For little baby Jesus in a manger. Take 1 more round of breath here. Slowly find stillness. And then I invite you to bring your feet together. Maybe you hug your knees to your chest. And then maybe you bring your feet back to the mat. And maybe you stretch it out, finding Shavasana pose. I invite you to close your eyes as you find your final resting posture, asana. Reconnect with the breath. And your hands can stay at your side, or you can place one on your stomach, one at your heart center if you prefer. And again, whether you celebrate Christianity or not in Christmas, I hope you enjoyed this little flow, learned a little bit about the story of the birth of Jesus, or at least a little bit of the history of the Christmas tree. And I hope you take a second here to give thanks. Overall, I think Christmas is a time of giving thanks. I myself am grateful for, even though the fact that I'm filming this in the year of 2020, which has been a hard year for almost everyone around the globe, I'm pretty sure, in some way. And I'm grateful for my family and for our health. That we can have a few presents under the tree this year. Not that that's what it's about, but our health is a gift enough. Take one more round of breath here. Exhale, sigh it out. Begin to wiggle your toes and your fingers. Maybe you roll things out as you wake up a little bit here. And then you can roll onto your side if you like. Maybe you bring your knees to a bend first. Maybe you roll from a seat or from your back to a seat. Whatever feels good. Just taking one more moment here. Finding your way towards Sukhasana. Easy seat, cross-legged seat. Maybe work something out in the neck. And then I invite you to bring your hands back to heart center. Maybe you bow your head. I thank you for sharing this flow with me, for sharing, if you're doing this on Christmas, a part of your Christmas day with me. I'm grateful for all of you, and the light in me recognizes and bows to and reveres the light in you. Namaste.